Have you ever wondered what it would be like to read your own obituary? Welcome to TV, Tennessee Valley Church. Hi, I'm Barry Howard, and I'm honored to be serving as the interim preacher at the First Baptist Church of Huntsville. And I'm really glad that you've chosen to spend a few minutes of your day with us. Chuck Feeney co-founded Duty Free Shoppers and built a fortune worth billions of dollars by the late 1980s. Forbes ranked him among the wealthiest people in America. But almost no one knew that years earlier, Feeney had quietly begun giving all of it away, in secret, to universities, hospitals, and human rights causes on 5 continents. He called his philosophy giving while living. His conviction that a fortune does more good and brings its owner more satisfaction when it's given away with your own eyes still open to see the results. When Feeney died in 2023 at the age of 92, he had given away more than $8 billion and kept only about $2 million for his own retirement. He died, by design, nearly broke. And Warren Buffett called him a model for all of us, adding that it would take Buffett 12 years after his own death to finish giving away what Feeney had finished within his own lifetime. Feeney never had a chance to read his own obituary in advance the way some people accidentally do. He didn't need to. He decided decades before he died exactly what kind of impact he wanted his life to make. And then he spent the rest of his years living into that decision, one gift at a time, mostly in secret, without a building named after him or a press release announcing it. That's the invitation in front of every one of us today. We get to decide now what kind of impact we want our lives to make before anyone writes the final word about us. There's no better place to start than a single verse from a minor prophet's book that has quietly shaped how God's people understand a significant life, and they've understood it this way for almost 3,000 years. In Micah 6:8 it says, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Micah was a prophet from a small town called Moresheth. It was a contemporary of Isaiah, preaching in Judah in the 8th century before Christ. It was a season of surface-level religion at best. The temple was busy, the sacrifices were being offered, the calendar was full of religious activity, and yet the nation was riddled with corruption, and the poor were being crushed by the powerful. In chapter 6, Micah imagines God bringing a courtroom case against his people, and the people respond with increasingly desperate religious bargaining. "Shall I come before the Lord with burnt offerings?" they said. "Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000 rivers of olive oil? Or shall I offer my firstborn for my transgression?" They're asking, in essence, what is the price of significance? How much religious performance will finally satisfy God? And then comes verse 8, one of the most quoted and most memorized verses in the entire Old Testament, because it cuts through all the religious noise with breathtaking clarity. No price tag, no thousands of rams, just 3 things, and every one of them has to do with how exactly you live today. I want to build the next few moments around those 3 phrases because I believe they'll describe the shape of a significant life, things like doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. First, Micah challenges us to act justly. The Hebrew word here is mishpat, and it means more than following the law. It means making sure others get what they're rightfully due, especially those who have no power to demand it themselves. The prophet Amos, preaching in that same era, put it this way: "Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream." Centuries later, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. echoed that same river when he wrote from a Birmingham jail cell that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. History gives us a vivid picture of what a life devoted to justice looks like in the person of William Wilberforce, who was a young member of the British Parliament. Wilberforce spent 26 years of his life fighting to abolish the slave trade, introducing bill after bill, absorbing defeat after defeat. He was mocked, exhausted, and told again and again the cause was hopeless. But in 1807, Britain finally abolished the slave trade, and it was just 3 days before Wilberforce himself died in 1833. Parliament abolished slavery throughout the British Empire entirely. 26 years is a long time to keep believing a cause is worth it when the world keeps telling you it isn't. That's what justice looks like when it's not a slogan, but it becomes your life goal and your life's work. You don't have to sit in Parliament to do justice. It might look like an organization such as International Justice Mission, rescuing victims of trafficking around the world. Or it might look like a foster family opening their home to a child who has no one else. Or it might look like speaking up for a coworker being treated unfairly when it would be easier to stay quiet. Justice is not primarily a political position. It's a posture of the heart that refuses to look away from someone else's mistreatment. Well, second, Micah says we should love mercy. The second phrase uses another rich Hebrew word, hesed, often translated loving kindness or steadfast love. Notice Micah doesn't simply say show mercy. He says love mercy. God isn't asking for occasional kindness performed out of obligation. God is describing a heart that genuinely delights in extending grace to other people. Few modern stories illustrate the kind of mercy more powerfully than what happened in the small Amish community of Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania in October of 2006. A gunman entered a one-room schoolhouse and shot 10 young girls before taking his own life. Absolutely tragic. Within hours, though, members of that grieving community were reaching out to comfort the shooter's own widow and his children. They attended his burial. They started a fund to help with his family expenses. The watching world struggled to understand how anyone could respond to such a horror with anything other than rage. But the community had spent generations practicing a faith that treated mercy not as a feeling to wait for, but as a decision to make. They did not simply show mercy that week. They had been practicing it their whole lives. Paul tells us where that kind of mercy comes from. In Ephesians 2, 4, and 5, it says, God who is rich in mercy made us alive with Christ. We're able to love mercy because we first received it. Loving mercy today might look like forgiving a family member who's never apologized, or offering a second chance to someone who has let you down. When we come back, I want to talk about the importance of humility.
Jesus, you're my heart's first love, and you've been holding on to me. You once were the air I breathe, so still my heart to remember. Jesus, I am wandering, but you're chasing after me. You once gave your life for me, still my soul to remember. Still my soul to remember. Your oceans wave without thinking, your mountains rise without knowing, your rivers run without needing to know where they are going. Your lilies spinning so free, oh, they're happy to be. So teach me this kind of humility. Teach me this kind of humility. I am struggling. Lord, I'm struggling to see. I'm doubting your provision. Still my soul to remember that Jesus, you're my heart's first love, and you're leading me home through the fire and the flood to the place where I belong. So still my soul to remember your oceans wave without thinking, your mountains rise without knowing, your rivers run without needing to know where they are going. Your lilies spinning so free, oh, they're happy to be. So teach me this kind of humility. Teach me this kind of humility. Jesus, you're my heart's first love.
Uganda is one of the top 5 countries for refugees because of their geographical location and their open-door policy. And there is a ministry that is helping these refugees, the most vulnerable of those. It's Amani, Sasa. And Jackie Bellamy is the only stateside representative for this wonderful organization. Welcome to TV Church.
Thank you so much for having me. I also want to say jambo, which means hello in Swahili. And so I want to greet everyone with a jambo.
I love that. I love it. And I looked up Amani Sasa, and it means peace now.
Yes, it does mean peace now. Amani Sasa was founded in Uganda with the idea of helping refugees find peace, be empowered, and to learn skills. So Amani Sasa was founded by Missy Angala Ward, and she is from Florida originally, but went to Uganda 15 years ago after finishing seminary. And she started working with people in Uganda, but then met a woman named Marie, and that woman was a refugee. Missy noticed that there was lots of refugees coming to Uganda, but there wasn't any kind of help for them. So Missy started first with emergency services that could help the refugees, including medical and food. But then she saw a greater need for more stability. So Missy started a women's shelter program about 15 years ago to help women get back on their feet and learn skills like basket weaving and beading. And men learned videography. And they started a men's shelter about 8 years later. And so they were able to help refugee men get back on their feet as well. And but they also noticed that 60% of the people coming were children, sometimes alone because they had lost track of their family, or because their family had been deceased, their parents, they were without parents. And so the next phase of Amani Sasa is going to be a children's shelter.
You have a fundraiser. Of course, this takes money. So you have a
Yes.
local fundraiser coming up.
Yes, we have the Reach for the Stars Gala for Amani Sasa, and it will happen on September 26th. And it'll be right here in Huntsville at the Jackson Center. Tickets are on sale, and we would love to have many people come to support Natalie's House, support the refugee children, and to just really have a great time at a wonderful gala that we're doing.
And we look forward to that. And Barry's message today is a life of significance. And the people who work at Amani Sasa are living a life of significance.
Yes.
They're acting justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. And they're also giving these refugees a chance to live up to their God-given potential.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome back. Before the break, I promised we'd talk about the importance of humility because the third phrase in our text is the one that keeps the first two from turning into something entirely different, something called self-righteousness. It is possible to pursue justice and mercy in a way that makes you feel superior to everyone pursuing them less energetically than you are. Micah will just not allow that. He ties justice and mercy to a third, quieter commitment, walking humbly with God. That's Micah's third point of emphasis. Walk humbly with God. Notice the verb, not sprinting, not arriving, but walking. An ongoing, daily, unglamorous companionship with God that shapes everything else. As Rick Warren has written, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. One of the most striking pictures of humility in American history isn't a religious figure at all, but a general. In December of 1783, after leading the Continental Army to victory over the British Empire, George Washington did something no victorious general in human history had ever done. He resigned his commission and handed the power back to Congress. King George III reportedly said that if Washington actually gave up power and returned to his farm, he would be the greatest man in the world. Well, Washington did exactly that. Scripture gives us an even greater picture. Paul writes that though Jesus was in very nature God, he did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage, but made himself nothing and humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. If the humility of Jesus was willing to travel that far, walking humbly with God is not beneath any of us. Walking humbly with God might look like admitting you were wrong to your spouse or your kids before they even ask. It might look like serving in a role that no one applauds or a quiet daily habit of prayer that keeps you tethered to God rather than to your own opinion of yourself. Charles Feeney decided what kind of impact he wanted to make and then spent decades living into that decision. Most of us will never give away $8 billion, but Micah 6:8 hands every one of us that same clarity without requiring his bank account. We don't have to wait until the end of our lives to wonder whether they mattered. We can know today what a life of significance looks like: to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. That's where the new series, A Life Worth Living, begins. Not with a program to join, but with a verse to live inside of, written nearly 3,000 years before Christ walked the earth and fulfilled perfectly in Him when He did. My prayer for you today, wherever you're watching from, is that this would become the shape of your own life. Someone who does justice, loves mercy, and walks humbly with your God one ordinary day at a time. Whatever else this week holds for you, hold on to this. The Lord has shown you what is good, and you already know what the Lord requires. Have a great week.
God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of light. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to worship, so will I can see your heart in everything you've made. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. If it all reveals your nature, so will I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, a canvas of your grace. If creation still obeys you, so will so will I. If the stars were made to worship, so will I. If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I. If the oceans roar your greatness, so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. If the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. If the sum of all our praises still falls shy, then we'll sing again 100 billion times. God of salvation, you chased down my heart through all of my failure and pride. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear. Where you lost your life so I could find it here. If you left the grave behind you, so will I. I can see your heart in everything you've done. Every part designed in a work of art called love. If you gladly chose surrender, so will I can see your heart 8 billion different ways. Every precious one, a child you died to save. If you gave your life to love them, so will I. Like you would again 100 billion times. But what measure could amount to your desire? You're the one who never leaves, the one behind.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Boone, Minister of Missions at First Baptist Huntsville. To be a follower of Jesus means that you're on mission. God calls all of us to join our hearts with God's heart for the world. I hope that you'll join us as we seek to be the church in the heart of the city, with a heart for the region and for the world. You can visit the missions page on our website to find different ways to serve right where you are, or you can join us as we travel outside of our city and throughout our world. You can also email me at tim@fbchsv.org. I'd love to hear from you.
You gave me hope when I was down, lifted me up from the broken ground. With your hands so full of grace, you brought healing to this place. Thank you, Amani, Sasa, for upendo wako. You held my hand when I had no hope. You gave me strength to rise again. Mungu awabariki time and again. Oh, 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 Mungu awabariki time and again. You saw the pain